Adventure Synchro returns showcasing that turbo versions of this deck can be extremely scary, and we have a top 32 Lightsworn showing for you as well. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more awesome. We have the Indiana final regional breakdown for this block, and you know, very meta-y. Very meta-y. You had 3 Snake Eyes Copium builds in the top cutout here, and there's nothing wrong with Snake Eyes still continuing to be the best deck in the room. Thank you, Meta, for allowing the chance to, you know, showcase what this deck can absolutely devastate to the floor. We've also got 1 Fire King build out here. Now, I'm not surprised to see that. That's a pretty standard metagame challenger as well, but, and we also had Tenpai. Okay, well, you know, the standard meta is as standard is. Nothing wrong with that. Now, we also had a branded build in the top cut, which actually was piloted by Pack. And a lot of interesting eyes on branded right now. The gimmick puppet lock still kind of sticking around in here, but it appears that branded's kind of become this deck. It's being recognized by more of these higher tier players, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Having that showcase to, you know, see what's going on with this is really good. Now, we also had a runic stun player sitting here at the top tables, actually destroying the meta, and I am kind of curious to see what innovations, you know, we're kind of starting to see shift around here with that. And then the biggest and most interesting thing out of this regional, next to our top 32 Lightsworn, was this Synchro Adventure deck that had the chance to come into the room and just kind of take players by storm. Now, without Nibiru running around in the format, your opponent's going to be kind of put into an awkward situation where, you know, obviously you want to try to hold out for the junk speeder as long as possible, but, you know, if Reborn Tengu and friends are kind of stepping down here, or, you know, they've got a negate set up as they're kind of stepping into this, you would have to draw 2 hand traps to be able to play, and that can be quite an issue, to say the least. So pass on over those deck lists. So winning our event, it's always something with these Fire Kings out here, but it was Logan Kite, actually. I'm very happy to see the turnaround success for this duelist has just been so absolutely amazing. We're actually optimizing on triple Kieran, which is kind of a nice change of pace. Still doing 1 OSS, still 2 copies of Pobbler, nothing's really changed in that department. We are side decking a Change of Heart, 2 Mind Controls, and a Snatch Tail, so we're just going full anti-meta, gung-ho, steal your opponent's stuff, you know, hey, thanks for making a board, now it's all mine, the approach. I think that's probably the best method of madness to do things. We are sending 1 copy of Dimensional Barrier, and of course, 2 have access to a 1, there can only be 1 down here. Outside of that, we do have the Ambler Whale as, okay, yeah, this is about as standard as I feel like Fire Kings can actually get, but this is very interesting to note that Fire Kings can still sit here at the dinner table and they can still shake this meta the hell up, and that's what you want to be seeing out here. Maybe someday we'll get Ukalonics. Oh, so this is our big, scary boogeyman in the room. This is the Synchro Turbo Express. Now, what in the world are we doing with this? Well, you're making big guys, big dudes out here to throw at your opponent. This entire utility extra deck down here, oh, wait, what's that? You don't have, you know, the crazy Baron de Fleur anymore. You know, like, the Synchro Toolbox is, yeah, it's going to struggle a little bit not having those power cards to access. But you know what you do have? You do still have Dissipator, which is an incredibly stupid card. You can still rip away a good chunk of cards away from your opponent. I've seen this Omega go in for large numbers. And we have a new candidate down here. This deck is actually playing a copy of Senshin as an ability to go, hey, anything sent from the field to the graveyard is banished instead. So this kind of opens up that dynamic of, okay, so we have this boss monster that can start to take away options from the opponent. You know, how many decks in the game right now can you think of that need that graveyard to be able to stick? And, you know, also taking away all the Snake Eyes Ash stupid things away from them. You know, hey, you know, one less Flamberge to really worry about out here, or, you know, to never see those little combo pieces sticking their head back into the game again. I think that this is pretty good. Now, obviously, you do have to play the Wanted package. I know a lot of people are not super big fans of playing the stuff, but this fuels a card out of your hand so you can drop down like the Water Enchantress, banish it, go get your combo piece so you can do your thing. And of course, you're basically, this card right here basically getting two, one on the field, one, for the discard revive for the Synchro summon, is just going to get you into some massive places. Now, you might be looking at this and going, why are we playing a copy of Shayren? 1, for the discard, 2, for the mill, 3. All right, there would just be some situations that you just need this to be able to go off and go. You're not playing any fusions dedicated to the second effect because we don't give a crap about that secondary effect. All right, your whole thing with this is just you're still going to resolve the junk speed or try to get some extra bodies on the field. You're not extending with like the craziness, like you're not playing the wheel assault, or any of that crazy stuff that we've seen some of these other builds doing with this. You have the revolutions, you have the Stardust, a Synchron, you have the trail, and you have the assault. The package of things that you're bringing, you can still make boards without having the speeder actually go off. I think that's the coolest thing to point out here is oh no, the speeder's been inconvenienced. You can still play without having this go off. And also, shout out here to the Reborn Tengu. If you're sticking the Tengu on the field, that's a lot of free floating that you're going to be able to do. Remember, Reborn Tengu does not miss timing. That's why this card was such a broken card back in the day. And even back here in 2014, or 2024, we have a lot of Tengu. Oh, hey, we have our Runic Stun Duelist popping up out here. Now, I see that we did play one copy of Scrubbed Raid, so that's a little bit different than what we saw Johnny and them doing. They were dedicating, slots like Messenger of Peace and things like that. But, okay, I also see that we have double Synchro Zone in here. All right, pretty standard stuff. Dedicating the slots to the skill drains, and of course, there can only be one with this. One copy of the Morganite, that's fine. There's the 2 Desires, and we are on 41 cards. I do see that we've gone back to the Inspector Border. I do think that Border is an incredibly good card right now. Amano is still good, but the thing is you want the Border to kind of stick around through the passive turns to kind of help you out getting things done. Also, Card Scanner, such a broken good card. Outside of that, there's not a lot of innovations you kind of have to throw around with this deck. All right, once the deck gets going, it's pretty free. Also, Cowboy, of all things. Huh, okay. We also have, our Tenpai Dragon Duelist. They are really loving this Ray Sloth built into this deck. This Ray Sloth, sure, it is free searching. It does kind of get you to the places you need to be, but I can understand why you're dedicating that with only 2 copies of the Fender. Also, free field spell. Hey, if you activate Ray Sloth and your opponent ashes this, okay, that's when you slam down the Sengen Kaiman, or the Sengen Summoning, and you just kind of resolve around with your combo. That's the main thing that I see, this being used for, is to kind of cut off that little secondary engine. Also happy to see that this Duelist is actually dedicating some slots back here to the Heat Waves. This card, contrary to popular belief, is still an extremely good card. All right, there have been a lot of talks and people wanting to cut this. I do think that you do want to keep this. Being able to deny your opponent that whole turn, especially if they force you to go first, is very, very devastating. So don't underestimate the power that a nice little turn skipperoo here can actually bring to the table. We've also got, hello guys. This is our Lightsworn top 32 profile here. Now, we've seen a lot of people out here starting to get really cheesy with having this mini Centurion package built into the deck. Now, before you're like, why are we doing this? Literally, a 4-card dedicated package here means I can Calamity my opponent for free! Do I need to say that again? For free! Alright, some of these builds do dedicate some of the extra slots, like, you're going to have the Wake Up Centurion in here, the Phalanx, but now this build's just going for the absolute bare minimum here. Also, free stepping stones to make the Minerva. Your whole point of this is we're obviously toggling through a lot of the Lightsworn stuff. The little Punishment Dragon's going to be here as a nice little cycle resource free here, but this is some interesting stuff. I see we're playing 2 Rimfire, 2 copies of the Scattershot. Okay. I'm actually surprised they didn't just fit in the extra copy of this, but okay. Free little pings for damage, and of course, we're playing 2 copies of the Electromagnetic Turtle. I guess having the upped copies of this ensures that we can actually see this card. Granted, yes, it is a once per duel, but if you're relying on dumping this from the random RNG, you want to make sure that you can actually get to this gosh darn thing. And if you can't, well, maybe things aren't going to go quite the way you want them to. We're actually playing Soul Recharge in here. Wow. A 2 of I think is fine for this. You don't really want to bulk down too much on the bricks, and you're going to have a bad time. But outside of that, Interesting breakdown from this event. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.